Good evening, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Sports Extra. I am your host, Ahmed Nawaz. We've got a fantastic lineup for sports tonight, and we're going to be bringing you all the latest. Let's take a look at what we're discussing tonight. We're going to be starting things off with, of course, the Australian Open tennis tournament, where the 21st Grand Slam has been achieved. That nirvana is now done and dusted. Rafael Nadal managed to beat Daniel Medvedev. It was one stellar performance by El Matador. But the way this final was played, I think both Nadal and Medvedev deserve a lot of credit. Medvedev, of course, taking the first two sets. And frankly, I didn't think Nadal might make a comeback from there, but he did. And he surprised everybody, including himself, including his team, including Medvedev as well. And I think he's won millions of hearts as the best tennis player that is around now. People would say all sorts of things, but, you know, 21st Grand Slam achieved in these conditions where you've got COVID before the tournament, you've been in and out of the injury, people are talking about your careers being over. I think there's a lot of credit that goes to Rafael Nadal for keeping tennis alive. We'll be talking about that. Then, of course, the women's affair, where Ash Barty has won on home soil. The world number one continues to dominate. Looks like for the next couple of Grand Slams, it's going to be Ash Barty's era, because we have not seen a change in guard on the women's side. And now I think this might be happening, but we want to see consistency from someone. We've had Naomi Osaka bursting onto the scene, then we had Emma Raducanu, but now Ash Barty might be someone who continues to hang on to consistent titles the way Serena Williams had in the past as well. So we'll be discussing about the Australian Open. Then, of course, we'll be moving on to cricket. In cricket, we'll be discussing the Pakistan Super League 7th edition underway at the National Stadium in Karachi. Karachi Kings and Lahore Qalandars had an encounter where Lahore managed to beat Karachi by 6 wickets on home soil. Fakhar Zaman with a stellar performance, getting 100 in the cause as well. And I think Karachi, 3 losses out of 3, really should disturb them, and their lineup should send shockwaves. They really need to come out with a plan, otherwise it's going to be very difficult for them to actually be in the tournament. But on the other hand, Islamabad United were facing Peshawar Zalmi. They got a better start as well. They managed to chase down a target. Paul Sterling, Alex Hales were completely devastating for the Peshawar Zalmi bowling lineup. They chased the target down as well with relative ease. It was a stellar performance from Islamabad United, who I frankly think have got the strongest squad on paper when you talk about their names. So a lot of credit to Hassan Cheema, Rehanul Haq, the whole Islamabad United management for the way they've picked these players. I think superb stuff there from Islamabad United. And then, of course, if we talk about the encounter tonight, we've got action live at 7:30 p.m. on PTV Sports HD. It's going to be Multan Sultans who will be facing Quetta Gladiators in the next match of the PSL. You'll have all the action live from the National Stadium, Karachi, in high definition on PTV Sports HD. That's the lineup that we're discussing for tonight. We're going to start our things off with tennis. First of all, let me introduce my guest in studios, who've been joined by my co-host and also a sports expert. He's joining us on Sports Extra, Sabeel Hazir. Assalamu alaikum, Sabeel. How are you?
Welcome, Ahmed. I'm doing very well.
Good to have you on the show. We've also been joined by tennis player and fellow anchor at PTV, Mehak Kokar. Mehak, assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me yet again.
Great to have you both on the show. Now, we've got a package on the stellar performance of Rafael Nadal in the Australian Open. Let's go take a look at what happened in the men's final and then come back.
Rafael Nadal defeated Daniel Medvedev in a 5-set thriller to bag his second Australian Open title. This is also his 21st major title, becoming the first man to do so. Start to the second set was a better one for Nadal as he won a break point in Game 4. The third set till Game 8 was relatively straightforward as the two players held their service games up to that point, after which Nadal pulled the trigger by breaking Medvedev in the next and consolidating on it to take the third set to make it 1-2. Nadal broke back in the subsequent and eventually won the fourth set to force a deciding fifth. He inched ahead by breaking Medvedev's serve in Game 5 of the final set. Medvedev broke again only to see the Spaniard break him for the second time and eventually hold to win the match. Second seed Medvedev's defeat came after an exhausting 5 hours and 24 minutes of high-octane, nerve-shedding action, which made it the second longest major final in history. Nadal described his Australian Open triumph as his greatest comeback after he recovered from 2 sets down against Daniel Medvedev to win a record-breaking 21st Grand Slam title. Nadal's unexpected victory means he is now the sole owner of the men's Grand Slam record. There was no shortage of praise for Nadal following his achievements, though the messages on social media from Federer and Djokovic are those that will hold a special place.
Good message.
Vamos, Rafa Nadal, El Matador, indeed, the way he's done it in style. All you need to know about the Australian Open men's finale in detail. Credit to Daniel Medvedev, but Rafa Nadal has really aced it. Sabeel Hazir, you almost had it. You almost did.
So congratulations to Nadal. First and foremost, I think everybody who watches tennis can't deny he is a fighter. We've said this about him all the time. And to come back from injury and win his 21st Grand Slam, incredible. And there was a sign in the crowd that said 21 and counting. Obviously, there's no doubt that he has the potential to maybe win more Grand Slams as well. Incredible final. Genuinely a great game of tennis. When you say I almost had
the first two sets.
It played out. And I said this actually yesterday on the news. I was like, I think it'll play out. Medvedev's had a really good game plan, played a lot to Nadal's backhand. He only had like 3 backhand winners in the first two and a half sets. And he had a game plan, it was working. And Nadal's just kept coming back and he was hitting the ball so hard. That forehand, I think they said between his first and third set, he clocked about 20k faster on average on the forehand. So he was really, really just putting everything he had into every shot. An incredible final, one for the history books. I was wrong. I thought Medvedev would take it. And in the first 2 sets would indicate that. But Nadal, you can never, ever count him out. 21 Grand Slams, incredible champion and an incredible career.
I don't think you're wrong, because I think the beauty about sports is that the only person who could have given this tough time to Nadal was probably Medvedev. That's what Sabeel said the entire tournament. I refuse to believe it. But, after the first 2 sets, even I was sure that maybe it's done and dusted. Rafa just had too much to play for. But the way the way things turned around for him and the way things turned around for Medvedev surely speaks volume of a high intensity final that we enjoyed as well. So, Ms. Coker, you're on the happy side of life, but all in all, I think even Federer said it, even tennis pundits said it, sportsmen and athletes from different sports said it, that this is truly one of the greatest moments in tennis history.
I mean, you could tell by Nadal's reaction. He said this is one of the most emotional moments of his career, and we could see that even when he won, just his reaction. He didn't have his typical reaction where he lies on the ground, because I think he was in disbelief himself. And to be honest, like me being such a huge Nadal fan, being a tennis player, I was actually playing and, keeping track of the score. I found out that he lost the first 2 sets. So I'm going home and I'm like, okay, it's fine. He's lost, but at least he made it to the final. Good comeback, nice comeback by him. And he'll win the French. It's okay. He can still get 21. And then in the car, I see the score and he's won the 3rd set. And I'm like, wow. Then I get back home. He's 4-2 up, and I just got glued to the TV at that point. I'm like, I cannot miss this. I think, a lot of Nadal fans still had goosebumps when it was, when he got the break in the 5th, and then he lost that game, and then it became 5-all again, and we were just like, oh no, is Medvedev going to take it from here? It's as if you were sensing that, you were reminiscing that 40-15 when Federer and Djokovic had that Wimbledon final. But I think, whenever Nadal's in the final, you always know that it's going to be a great final, no matter what. Like, even if he's down, you can never count him out, because we've seen that he's not just in tennis, but I think generally in the sporting world, he is one of the biggest fighters, no matter what. You cover all sports, all athletes. He is definitely one of the biggest fighters. And I think he's such a big inspiration, not to the younger generation coming up, or not only to tennis players, but like Federer said it, he said, you're an inspiration to me. You've been an inspiration to me to work hard, just like I have been to you. That's why they have such a great friendship and rivalry as well. It's a healthy rivalry, a healthy competition. That's exactly what you call it. They're such good ambassadors for the sporting world, with their good sportsmanship, humility, humbleness, everything, you name it. And I mean, that's why he is the El Matador, because he can come back from anywhere. And what an absolutely fantastic final the whole world got to witness.
Well, definitely. It was one of the best moments in tennis history that would continue to live on as well. But Sabeel, you can't say Medvedev went wrong anywhere, because he did all the right things, won the first 2 sets. Even he said it at the end that he was waiting for Nadal to tire out, but it just didn't happen.
So I thought he would actually tire him out, but like he said in the end that, do you ever get tired? I think is what he asked Nadal, and clearly not. What's interesting is, he got into his own head a bit. I think maybe the occasion got to him, the fans maybe got to him as well. I think you could sense that. He was complaining to the umpire, and he said things which professional tennis players shouldn't say. I think I get it. You are at one of the biggest finals of your career. You're facing one of the greatest players of all time. You want to win back-to-back Grand Slams. You have that pressure. You want to be world number 1. You want to be all of these things. And everybody in that crowd is praying for you to lose, right? I get that. But He called them empty heads and stuff. He's saying that, but that's
He
not
does stuff like that all the time.
She does do stuff like that all the time. But unlike, look, he said in the quarterfinals he channeled his inner Novak to win, right? Novak feeds off that energy.
Yeah.
Medvedev doesn't. He's not the type who feeds off anger and all these negative emotions. So he needs to figure out a way to control them. Look, if he was getting that aggressive and winning Grand Slams, at the end of the day, you're still a champion doing it. We can't really say much about your methods, right? But because you're not one of those people, when you get angry, you lose games, which is what we saw, especially against a player like Nadal, right? He needs to learn to control that. His game plan was working in the first 2 sets, and then Nadal had too much, and he got into his own head, and it was downhill.
But honestly, I
Yes.
don't really think it had. I mean, I agree, whatever. But honestly, I mean, I wouldn't take it as far as that he got into his own head, because we've seen Medvedev, you know, not really caring about what the crowd has to do. Like, just like in his match against Kyrgios, he thought that the crowd was saying boo, whereas they were saying sui, which is like that Ronaldo thing, right? He got it all wrong. He was showing them attitude. He still won, even though Kyrgios is such an, like, he is a guy that can beat the top players. We know that, right? We already know that.
But then he's got problems of his own as well. You've got to realize
but he wasn't showing any of those bad attitudes in that match, right? Then against Tsitsipas, same thing happened. He broke down at the umpire because he said, you know, his dad's coaching him. Why can't you? Like, that was a bad breakdown. He still didn't let it get
I
to him.
realized that would cost him a point.
But it didn't. But it didn't get to his head. He still defeated Tsitsipas, even though Tsitsipas is a class player. Like, you know, we know he's going to be, you know, a future generation player to definitely watch and winning Grand Slams. I would say it was because Tsitsipas got tired, right? Now we see the 4th set, Tsitsipas is cramping. He doesn't know what to do. He's just like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? Nadal can see from the other side of the court, Tsitsipas is getting tired. Now, even though, sorry, not Tsitsipas, Medvedev. Now, even though Medvedev is the 25-year-old, Nadal's the 35-year-old, you would expect it to be the other way around. So that's why I was surprised. I'm like, it should be the
what
other
do
way
you do?
around.
I mean, as a tennis player, I must ask you this, and for the people who want to know, that you're 2 sets down in a Grand Slam final where you're chasing a dream of a 21st Grand Slam title. As a tennis player, what's
do you
going
do?
through your mind?
So you know what, to be honest, at that point, I think when you're watching the players, even though it's really, really tough on the players, because obviously you just want to win, but I think the people watching outside, it's tougher for them. Now, personally, as a player, I'll tell you, anytime I've been down in a match or whatever, obviously this is a Grand Slam final, it's Nadal and Medvedev, it's something else, but I think just being mindful of the fact and just focusing on the power of now, you know, not letting your thoughts wander in the past, not letting your thoughts wander in the future, because that's what costs not just tennis players, any athlete, that's what causes them to lose and not be able to win. It's when you get stuck in the past or the future, when you start imagining the trophy, or you're just stuck, oh, I could have won that set. Nadal could have easily have done that in the 2nd set when he was up 4-2. You could have easily have thought that, oh, I could have won this in 4 sets had I won the 2nd set. He didn't let that get to him even in the 5th set. He came out, I think he was just staying in the present moment, just trying to, you can tell when he's playing that he is focused. He's even said it that I play every ball like it's my last ball that I'm ever going to play.
And you see that happening.
And
I
you
think
see that
credit
happening.
to Nadal.
I think when you're thinking like that, you just do stay in the moment and you just play ball by ball.
Absolutely. I think that really displays as well. But at the same time, like I said, you got to give a lot of credit to Medvedev as well. And Sabeel, the future is for Medvedev. It might not be now, but it would be there definitely.
Yeah, definitely him. You mentioned Tsitsipas, there are rivalries there, but it's like, I think we should all now as well, we've had another reminder that these guys aren't finished yet, that Nadal's not finished. These guys still have a lot left to give. So maybe they're still the present, but definitely the future. He's a future world number one. He plays like one. I still think mentality-wise, he has to either embrace the dark side and just become a villain. You saw the way he was looking at Nadal when he was picking up that trophy as well. It was like something else, the look in his eyes. So
I'll see you back at the hotel.
He's just really honest. He doesn't care about what anybody thinks. He's just honest and blunt, and I love that about him.
But that means he's pure as
But I love that about him because he's so genuine.
Yeah, so you at least know he's being honest, like she said. So I think either he learns to control it or he embraces it, but future world number one indeed.
Sure.
Definitely.
Really good player.
Definitely. That would be the case for the men's side, of course. I think congratulations to Rafa Nadal and to the entire tennis fraternity. The 21st Grand Slam has been achieved. Let's see what the future has installed for him and for tennis. But at the same time, we know that there was another champion, Ash Barty, on home soil. What happens on the women's final? Let's go take a look and then come back.
Australian tennis player Ashley Barty beat out Danielle Collins to become the women's singles champion at the Australian Open. Australia had gone 43 years without a singles win at their own Open until Barty's win. The last was Chris O'Neill at the 1978 edition of the tournament. Barty won the first set over the American Collins in just 32 minutes, but fought her way back from a second set deficit to win in a tiebreaker. Despite standing just 5-5, BARTY is an excellent server and finished with 10 aces and won 82% of her first serve points. BARTY has dominated the entire tournament where she didn't lose a single set. After her win, BARTY said this is just a dream come true for her and she's so proud to be an Aussie. She also thanked the crowd for being exceptional. BARTY has now won 3 of the 4 major trophies and is a perfect 3-0 in Slam finals. Her maiden Grand Slam title came at the French Open in 2019, where she defeated Marketa Vondrousova in straight sets.
There you have it, Ash Barty, the new Australian Open champion, world number 1, whatever you want to call it. She is now the new queen of tennis, and I think she's going to continue because she has some consistency in her. Mehak Khokar, Ash Barty indeed, but like I said, it's been funny. Serena Williams, we had Naomi Osaka suddenly burst onto the scene, then we had Emma Raducanu. Yeah. But of course, we didn't see that level of consistency that Serena had. Ash Barty, I don't know why, it is my personal opinion that I think she is one of those players who might achieve that consistency.
Do you know what? I completely agree with you, Ahmed. Now, see, the problem with WTA women's tennis has been for a long time is consistency. Now, you'll see these top 8 players, top 10 players, they come into a Grand Slam and a lot of them get knocked out in the first few rounds, right? And we've seen this for a while where in every Grand Slam there's just a shocker new champion coming up, you know? It's Emma Raducanu or it'll be somebody else or like we saw Naomi Osaka all of a sudden burst into the scene. But I think with Ash Barty, it's because of the way she plays. It's her game. You can see that consistency in her game when she's playing a match. And I feel what's different with her game that I think bothers a lot of women on the tour. And I see women like to play flat, right? They like to hit the ball hard. They just like to hit winners. They don't really, I wouldn't say they don't have that much variety in their game. I think with Serena, not much. I think with, on the men's side, they play more with topspin. They've got drop shot slices. They've got more of that kick serve, more. They've just got more tactics, more variations, more tactics under their belt. And I think Serena, even though she has that power, but at the same time, she would use her mind as well. It wasn't just all power. And so I think with Barty, what we see is different. And I used to actually see that a lot in Samantha Stosur. Sam Stosur, I loved the way she used to play because she used to play like a guy as well. She used to play with that heavy topspin, kick serve, coming to the volley. With Ash Barty, I see the same. You see how effective her slice is. We don't see women slicing that much in the women's tour.
And I think that's why we're saying that she's got that consistency and she might take it.
Definitely.
Sabeel, your final thoughts on Ash Barty?
Said it from day one, she's going to win without dropping a set. That consistency, you and I have spoken about it ad nauseum. Meg's just mentioned there again that she agrees as well. I don't think anybody can look at her and not go like, well, she has all the tools to be a very consistent player. Not just in her arsenal, which obviously Meg's pointed out, the technicalities there, which are very important.
Her calm composure as well.
Exactly. She doesn't make, there are a lot of, I see, especially I've said this for the last couple of months, unforced errors. In the women's game as well with top 10 players.
Absolutely.
And they're often, like Meg said, they're losing in early rounds of tournaments. They're losing to players who are either seeded well below them or unseeded. So that consistency that Barty has, you see it in her game, and I think you really, really have the makings of somebody who can take the reins of the women's division.
Definitely.
And obviously she's not going to win every Grand Slam, every tournament, but she's going to be consistently there. The thing is, I told you this as well, we need top 4 or 5 players to be in semis and quarters and finals regularly. That's what you expect from the top 1% of the top 1%. So Barty's going to be that. Congratulations to her in Australia. What a champion.
What a champion. What a champion. But Sabeel and Meg, thank you so much for joining us. On that note, let's take a look at our segment recap that we discussed. We of course discussed about the Australian Open, the men's title and the women's title, where Nadal and Ash Barty have been crowned, but the 21st Grand Slam has of course been achieved. On that note, let's go towards a short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned to Sports Extra.
Peace, guys.
Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now for our segment on cricket. The Pakistan Super League 7th edition is what we're discussing. A lot to discuss. In studios, we've been joined by our cricket expert, cricket commentator, and like I always say, very much in demand, the very popular K. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum Assalam. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show. Good to see you as well.
Pleasure.
We've also been joined by cricket expert who's going to be joining us on Sports Extra tonight, and we'll get a lot of insight from him about the games that happened last night and also the game that is there tonight as well. Muhammad Ali Jafar is joining us. Assalamu alaikum, Jafar. Welcome to Sports Extra.
Ji, walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Right, let's take a look at the action that took place last night. We're talking about the two high-intensity games that happened between Karachi Kings, Lahore Qalandars and Islamabad United and Peshawar Zalmi. We've got a report on that. Let's take a look and then come back.
Islamabad United's opener Alexander Daniel Hales and Paulette Robert Sterling sailed their team to a 9-wicket victory against Peshawar Zalmi in the 5th match of Pakistan Super League at National Stadium in Karachi. Zalmi set a 169-run target for Islamabad United in the match as United's bowlers destroyed the top-order batting line of Peshawar Zalmi. They lost the 4th wicket at just 35 runs in the clash. The team's middle-order batters steered the team to a 168-run total. Hales and Sterling started an aggressive innings and smashed 50 in partnership within just 3 overs, making it one of the fastest 50 in the history of Pakistan Super League. Sterling returned to the pavilion after scoring 57 runs of 25 balls when suffered a run-out by Zalmi skipper Wahab Riaz on Hussain Talat's delivery. Islamabad United chased down the 169-run target posted by Zalmi in 15.5 overs at the cost of just 1 wicket, whereas the phenomenal batter Fakhar Zaman's 106-run knock led the Lahore Qalandars to a 6-wicket victory against Karachi Kings in the Pakistan Super League. Qalandars who put Kings into bat after their captain Shaheen Afridi won the toss, bowled well in the late overs to restrict Kings to 170 for the loss of 7 wickets in 20 overs. Qalandars chased down the 171-run target in 19.4 overs, with Muhammad Hafiz and Samit Patel playing small cameos to lead the team to the victory and bag 2 points.
There you have it, all the action that you want to know about. Let's start off with Islamabad United and Peshawar Zalmi because I think that was the first game, so justice be it that we talk about it first. K. Asif, Peshawar Zalmi, I thought were 20-30 runs short indeed. But even I believe if they had gotten those 30 runs, Islamabad United looked completely in control.
Yes, we always talk about their aptitude, their cricketing sense. They've been phenomenal, and they went there and played brave cricket. I must say, not brave but ruthless cricket they played, especially Paul Sterling and Alex Hales. And to be very honest, that this is how you should behave when you're chasing 170. Go play bravely and don't think that what's happening. Just positively. And when you are when Paul Sterling and Alex Hales, they guys were playing there. Nobody was thinking about that match will go till 20th over, and that it happened there. And then Rahmanullah, you know that how could you play like a helicopter shot like Mahendra Singh Dhoni and against a pacer like Sohail Khan, and followed by a tremendous hit which is called a pull shot. So I think that Islamabad United, they're in typical and dangerous
On
mood.
paper, strongest side?
Yes, but good match against Multan Sultans once again.
That would set the tone. I
Yeah.
think he's right that that would also be an interesting encounter. But Jafar, I'd like to know more about your thoughts on Islamabad United. Look, this is a franchise that does not have much of a hype after the PSL. You don't see them having any PDPs, no activities every now and then around the corner in the country. But as soon as these guys gel together, the professionalism, the way they pick their squads, the combinations and everything that comes up is truly phenomenal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, talking about Islamabad United, that's the way they have been working from the very first season. If you see, they are not very active off the pitch. They're not very active once the tournament is over. They do not. They're not engaged in any extracurricular activities like other teams. But at the same time, if you see, they're very focused. They're very dedicated, and they're always they're signing very good players. I mean, talking about the selections, like, today earlier on the same channel, I was saying this thing, that there are a few teams which actually missed out when they were signing the players. I do believe Karachi Kings, for example, could have gone for better signings. If you compare Islamabad United's signings with other teams, as far as the overseas players are concerned, you're going to see a massive difference. I mean, we just saw Islamabad United putting up a great show where Paul Sterling and Alex Hales showed their class. At the same time, if you see the other matches, like, for example, today Quetta and Multan will be playing, and in that match, if you see, both the teams, there would be an evident difference in the local players and the international players. For example, if you talk about, let's say, Multan, the key players for Multan are more, the local players. They're depending more on Shan Masood. They're depending more on Mohammad Rizwan, for that matter. When you talk about bowling, definitely Imran Tahir has a role to play. But the main focus is on the local players. At the same time, if you see Quetta, no doubt Will Smeed was excellent. But if you see both the games, you'll notice, that Ahsan Ali was the main man for them. And Mohammad Nawaz was doing a great job when it came to the bowling department. So I must say that Islamabad United has one of the best overseas signings, and the players are definitely showing their worth. And as you saw, they just took the game away. I mean, right now, we would definitely agree that the two teams that are being rated as the best and the strongest sides in this PSL season is Islamabad United and Multan Sultans. But the difference I saw was that when Multan played their first game, then they were going to chase a low-scoring total, probably 120 something. While they were chasing that, they took the match to the 19th over. And when you saw that, all credit to them, they also chased a massive target. But then again, the approach they had to, when they were heading towards the target. Whereas you see Islamabad United's game, they were chasing a good score, a decent score, and they went all guns blazing. I mean, the kind of attacking cricket we saw, Islamabad United was showing some urgency to win it as soon as possible, and that is a very strong message. And I must say, this was their first game. They still have a lot to prove, but I do believe that they're one of those sides that's going to cause a lot of problems for the other sides.
Yeah, well, true. I think their signings are truly superb. The way Hassan Cheema and Rehanul Haq have been doing their job is phenomenal, Asif. And at the same time, let's talk about their bowling as well, because they start off with Hassan Ali and Rana, Fahim Ashraf. Yeah. And I might say Fahim was very quick, but the way he was using those variations were absolutely great to see. And then, of course, Shadab in between as well. Got hit for a couple now and then, but superb googlies he was bowling as well.
Yes, this is all about, your team effort. Is that early on your strikers, Rana, Fahim, and I must say Fahim Ashraf, because people don't know that he's Rana. So, and Hassan Ali, of course, when he got wicket early on, and it was a very good delivery and an inside edge, and he got wicket. And after that, they got the rhythm, and the rest of the bowlers, they bowled really well. As you were mentioning that Shadab Khan, he's leading from the front, and one of the best captains in the PSLs. So I think that when brains are working there, off the field, on the field, and you guys are discussing that they don't have any other activities like their players development programs or any other activities apart from PSL. They're just concentrating. But you know that...
that's the Dean Jones mentality that is
Dean Jones mentality. Yeah. He was such a nice guy. And people, they talk about that Asif Ali is basically his product, and Asif Ali is the product of Islamabad United. As we talk about the other players, as Shadab Khan, Hassan Ali, Fahim Ashraf.
So now Azam Khan.
Now, a big question mark. You're smiling, so that's why I'm not replying. So as this my fellow is talking about that. The players picking that the Paul Sterling, he is no more anywhere. But for Islamabad United,
surprise pick.
Yes, and same as the Alex Hales. So and not for this season, but they started from the season 1. They had a very good pickup for the foreigner players. So yes, I must say that Islamabad United is a very dangerous team, and that's why that they remain, apart from last season, they remain very good on the table. So, but as they played, as they fought for the first match, I think that the rest of the team should be scared.
They should be scared, but where do you think the problem was, Jafar, for Peshawar? I think for once I must say that, like I said, they were probably 20-30 runs short. But the way Wahab Riaz bowled, I understand he's coming back after COVID, and but it really sets the tone how your captain is behaving on the field, and his first over getting hit for 4 fours with a shorter run-up was really not interesting to see.
I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I mean, it really matters how the captain leads. You know, that sets the tone for the team. And like you both of you said that Shadab was very proactive, and his personal performance was very much evident, because when you're delivering as a captain and you're delivering as a player, that confidence that transfers into the momentum transfers into the team, and the performance of the team definitely is affected by that. Talking about Wahab Riaz, definitely he's not up to the mark. He doesn't seem to be very fit, and the way he fell probably shows that he's not got that rhythm back yet. But this is where the team management role comes in. I mean, if you feel that the player is not up to the mark, was it really important to bring him back so early? Was it really important to make him the captain again and make him play the game? I mean, Peshawar did a fairly decent job, except for the fielding. They did a fairly decent job under the captaincy of Shoaib Malik as well in the previous game. So I do believe that the management has just shown us a bit of the sign of being a bit rusty, which was not at all needed. But let's see how things turn out for him. I would just like to mention one point, like my honorable guest said, that the signings like Alex Hales and Paul Sterling might not be the best in the world, but at the same time I must tell you one thing, that it's not really important that the players are performing everywhere in the world. Those players should be picked. You have to see what kind of players can have an impact in your league on your wickets. So Alex Hales has got a pretty good decent PSL record, and there are players, I mean, you must be remembering that Tom Banton had a fantastic NatWest series there, NatWest Cup in England, and he was having a fantastic year, but the time he signed in the PSL, he did not have a very good season to start with. So there are players who are performing in the international circuit, but when they come and perform and try to perform on wickets such as National Stadium Karachi or probably Qazafi Stadium Lahore, it's not very important that they're delivering or not. The thing that matters is that you sign the players who work hard and put in effort and gel in the team. Islamabad United have always looked like a good team. I remember the initiative they took. They were carrying Saeed Ajmal for this this role where he used to keep all the players very active and very lively, and he used to blend in well with the players, and he was playing a very important role in the days when they were not performing well. So these small little initiatives, they have a great impact on the overall performance.
Absolutely. I think Jafar has put it up brilliantly, and as Saeed Bhai says, science is the man and man is the science, and so shall be the case forever. But also coming to the game between Lahore and Karachi, Lahore hai, and Karachi's lost 3 of them. But the way Lahore has dominated, I think they deserved this victory for all of those seasons.
So I think that now you are changing your thoughts and you are supporting Lahore Qalandars.
Not really, but my heart always says Lahore.
Well, the important thing is that I'm really impressed with Fakhar Zaman. The way he played, it was genuinely like an opening batter, and it was missing for a long time. And that I've been a huge critic of his batting, and because I do remember that he scored 200 against Zimbabwe. It was a really good knock, but not impressive. He scored 190. It was fantastic. But the way he scored century last night, it was fantabulous. And this is called, your class, that you are taking the responsibility. You should have to finish the game. You know that you're the main player of your team. Team is relying on you. Team is giving you responsibility. And if you're fulfilling that, then you will become a big player. And this is the class of the big player, that you know that this is your role and you'd have to finish the game. And the last thing, and the must I say that it was a fantastic knock from Fakhar Zaman, and I haven't seen any heri-feri or cross shots from him. It was on the merit, and that's why he finished the game. 60, he scored 100 on just on 60 deliveries. And if you see his class, that he was, and as we were discussing before the program, that we have seen that if he was concentrating, that if he got a boundary or if he got a maximum, followed by single and double, this is your mentality. Proper cricketing. And that's why I'm so happy, and now I will supporting him.
Yeah, you're supporting Fakhar Zaman, but somebody just gave me a cue. I think I should address this. Please allow me to elaborate. The word fantabulous actually comes from the combination of fantastic and fabulous, and the Oxford Dictionary describes this as an adjective, and fantabulous means excellent, wonderful. You can also use it in a sentence as a fantabulous prize. So this is for all the people who don't know fantabulous,
All
right?
right,
Yes.
okay,
So
okay.
it's a proper word.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So it's a word, and of course that's why I have used that classic, beautiful.
No, but
this.
fantabulous is a word because somebody asked me, so I said I would
All
share
right.
it.
Okay. So that innings was fantabulous.
Fantabulous. We'll
Yes,
stick Fakhar Zaman, fantabulous Fakhar Zaman.
Yes,
should be the
fantabulous,
case.
yes.
But Jafar, your thoughts on Lahore Qalandars and also the problems with Karachi Kings. I think when we're talking about the players, who have been picked up, I don't see a quality spinner. The fast bowling department looks haywire. They let go of Waqas Maqsood, who was probably one of their main bowlers. They let go of Arshad Iqbal. They don't have Danish Aziz in the side anymore. They're trying to make Mohammad Nabi bat at 3 and 4. What is happening with Karachi?
Ahmed, you have already, mentioned more than half of the problems the problems that are taking place right now in the dugout of Karachi. I mean, you have already mentioned them. Honestly, that was what I was trying to say in the first half of the conversation we were having, that, it is really important to pick the right players for the right job. I mean, talking about Karachi Kings and the lineup of Karachi Kings, if you just give a look at it, the performance so far has been pretty decent by Shajil Khan. Good knock, no doubt, 60 of 39 is considered to be good at any ground of in the world. Talking about Babar, he takes his time. That's how Babar Azam plays. He has to build an inning. He takes a few balls, constructs his inning. So it's very important that the person supporting him needs to be a little more aggressive as far as the approach is concerned. But talking about the signings, if you see, I mean, talk about Clark, talk about Nabi, talk about Gregory. Are these the players that's going to make you win? Regardless, let's win. Keep the win on a side. Are these the quality of players that's going to take you to the final four? I don't see that happening. I mean, talking about all these individuals,
Jafar, could I
by no
could I
means
make
they're-
a
We're
comment?
we're short on time. I'll come.
Okay.
to you. Yeah. Yes, Jafar, please continue.
Yeah, sure. So I was just saying that, when you consider these players and when you compare them to the signings the other teams have made so far, none of the signings are clicking for them. If you see that, Lewis Gregory is bowling the last ball, the last over of the game, that shows how much you're lacking as far as your bowling is concerned. Mohammad Nabi is your number 3. That shows how much you're lacking as a batting side, as a batting unit. So
Very
definitely
true.
there are some serious issues that needs to be addressed. I mean,
Right, definitely.
as far
Jafar,
as
I'm
the-
really sorry. We're very short on time. Before I wrap this up, I think let Lahore celebrate. It will be their night. They've got bragging rights over Karachi now, and they need to take it to every corner of the world, and that's the way they should. But Jafar, very quickly, Quetta or Multan tonight? Where you're going?
For me, Multan is a more balanced side, though Quetta has played fantastic cricket. The match they lost it in the 19th over. Had Faulkner been a bit better, they could have won it. But for me, it is Multan. For me, it is
Multan Sultans, right? K. Asif Ahmed, Multan
Yeah, of
or
course,
Quetta?
I'm with Multan from day first, so I'll stick on it.
Well, I think Janoob ki pehchan and the fact that they're giving iPhones everywhere as well just tells us
But I didn't get any.
the franchise that they've become. But Jafar and K. Asif, thank you very much for being with us on the show. It's going to be Multan Sultans from Sports Extra tonight. Let's see how the match progresses. 7:30, all the action live on PTV Sports HD on high definition. And just to give you a roundup of the segment, we discussed about the PSL matches that took place yesterday. Islamabad winning against Peshawar, Karachi lost to Lahore Qalandars, but tonight it's Quetta versus Multan. Sports Extra has called it Multan. Let's see how the game will go. We'll catch you tomorrow. Once again, from me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.